Alrighty. Hello, Internet. My name is Max7238, and welcome to the Tower of Purgatory. Now, I actually did the start of a playthrough for this like a year ago, but then my computer died, so I couldn't continue. I've lost all my data, obviously, so on and so forth. Also, if you actually go back and watch those, they're really not all that good. I'm not exactly a pro YouTuber. I don't plan on being one. The whole purpose of the several playthroughs that I'm going to upload here are purely just to get these games out there one last time. They're some of my favorite games I've ever played, and I actually have the opportunity to do something to give back to, some form of media that's really given me a lot. It's really influenced a lot in my life. In fact, Rengoku has sparked several different ideas of mine. One in particular, I'm trying to make it to a 5th book idea. It's not going very well right now. I've got 4 fully fleshed out book ideas that are completely unrelated to this, but this thing, this whole story, which you're about to see, really gets to me. I hope that through my comments here I can kind of, pass that on, because as many complaints as this game gets for its controls and stuff, and I will admit it is a little clunky, but at the same time, it just holds a special place in my heart. Now, one other thing about the previous playthrough that I'm not going to be doing this time is I was trying to undergo this challenge where I would play through with plasma weapons, and I've never really done that before. I always did, like, bullet and slash, and, this time I'm just going to do it my way. I realized that maybe doing a bit of a challenge run might make this a bit more interesting. Maybe to watch, I don't know. Probably not, now that I think about it. But sorry about the clearing my throat. Seasons are changing. I don't know. I don't feel like limiting myself and limiting the experience because of it. I would rather just have this be something raw, something that I enjoy, a way to give some context on this game, and, like I said, just kind of get it out there one more time. So we're going to jump right into it. I'll kind of go through the tutorial as I go along. Last time I just kind of front-loaded all the information. I don't really want to do that this time, so we'll start with that. Yes, this is where you would customize your character. I think this game does a really good job of... how do I put this? I think it's a really well-designed game. And a lot of people would probably disagree with me for a lot of reasons. But I will try to point out where I think this game goes well as I go along. If you don't really know too much about game design or too much about game theory, and you want to stay on YouTube to learn, you can always go over to like extra credits, or even somebody as famous as Markiplier just runs around and he makes commentary on gameplay and game design. So there's all these stats, and a lot of this stuff kind of goes on in the background. Some things you'll be able to see more clearly, like your heat resistance is here. You got slots for weapons, like you just saw I was equipping weapons and I only had 1 slot per limb. More complex weapons require more slots. We'll probably run into some examples of that, I don't know, floor 2, floor 3. Electronic and physical defense, those are purely in the background. You never see any numbers for that. You just see your maximum endurance, your health bar. And your health bar will go down slower if you have higher defense. It's pretty basic stuff. However, what is not basic, and what might slip by you, maybe your first time playing this game, if you're not really paying attention too well, is there's that slash, impact, quantum, bullet, and heat right there towards the center of the screen. Those are actually stats. Those aren't just, like, weapon types. And some weapons will have multiple types. The more you use a weapon type, the more powerful it will get. The higher your damage multiplier for that will go. This iteration of the game doesn't really do a good job with, actually portraying that. The next iteration, Rengoku 2, is a lot more clear about a lot of these stats that this game just doesn't tell you. And we'll get into that. I'm just going to do a quick playthrough of the story of this game. I'm not going to be here to be doing any challenge runs. There isn't anything more to this game than the story. I won't be talking a whole lot during, boss dialogue, which is, I don't know, like 6 button presses. There's not a whole lot of quote-unquote dialogue, it's just text. I won't talk at all during the ending cutscene, because there is only one cutscene. If you'd like to see the opening cutscene, then I do have a video up. I actually think it's the only video on YouTube that has the full opening of Rengoku, and I screwed it up by putting my cursor in it. So that was a bit of a mistake on my part. I was using a different recorder. Now I actually have the option to where, like, you can't see it right now, but I'm, like, flailing my mouse all over the screen, and it's just not there. And I really appreciate that about this particular uploader. Oh, geez, right to it. 2-on-1, okay. Careful to actually use the proper weapon type when I finish enemies off. Yeah, see, not like that. As you kill off enemies, that's how you build up those meters that I was just talking about. I don't think you can actually move when firing a lot of weapons in this particular game. Rengoku 2, again, does make some improvements on the game where Rengoku 1 does fall short. But let's start with a lot of the limitations in gameplay. Like, for example, I don't move very fast. I can only form 2 weapons right now. Oh, cool. Just got another gun. That's good. And, you know, there's pickups here and there. That's actually one good point of game design I would like to point out, is that, while this game does have regenerating health, like you can see my health going up right there, right now, that health regeneration is largely fixed, which means the higher my health goes, the slower it will regenerate overall. My health will regenerate faster when I'm in a room alone, but I'm going to generally try to not rely on that and instead rely on, like, these, you know, endurance pickups. And you can get them out of these boxes. But if you'll notice over on the bottom left, I have ammo for these weapons that I'm using. I have a double claw here, just a basic melee weapon, and I have a pistol on my head. The more you use them, the more the ammo goes down, just like any other game. The difference is that there is no reloading in this game. I can sit here and fire off all 16 shots, and that's it. Like, once it's out, it's out. The item will unequip, and I'm done. That's where the multiple slots come in, because if you've got multiple, multiple weapons equipped to the same slot, say I had a sword equipped underneath this claw, when I exhaust the claw, then it would unequip and the sword underneath would be equipped. Again, one of the things that Rengoku 2 improves upon is that in Rengoku 2, you don't have to wait for a weapon to wear out, you can just switch on the fly. Makes you a lot more adaptable. Obviously, some weapon types are better at dealing with crowds than others, and so you want to be able to change over to the proper weapon. Here, I don't have that option. I just kind of have to, use what essentially works the best for every given situation. And, I mean, there's status effects in this game. Again, they go largely unnoticed. Like, this guy can inflict knockdown with that hammer on his head. That's why I, like, fell over on my butt. Oh, and I got his sword. I do like slashing weapons. I do like the, melee. It's just, again, this game is a little behind in that melee combat is largely, if you're going to combo, it's going to be all on the same weapon. This thing's called the double claw because if I hold down the button, I swing twice. I can swing 3 times with my basic fist, but it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. It's just there for if you run out of something, and yeah, like this guy's punching me and it's hardly doing anything, and I'm punching him and it's hardly doing anything. But a shot from my gun is much better. Let's see if we've actually accumulated any. Yeah, there we go, see? I actually have a noticeable little tick into bullet now. So my bullet stuff's going to start doing more damage the more I use it. I do prefer to have more heavy guns, and I like to use liquid coolant for the most part, just because I like the burst damage from a distance that guns can give you in this game. Bullets. Bullets and weapons. They're really good with burst damage. Sustained damage, I think, is better with like lasers and stuff, and obviously that's plasma weapons. And even better burst damage will come from explosives. So guns are kind of a balance in between, and I do like to be, kind of adaptable in my playstyles, no matter what game I play. Although, usually when I'm with my friends, I kind of get thrust into the tank role. I enjoy that too, but it's just, you know, it kind of railroads you. So, that's the first floor. Pretty simple. No really dangerous enemies to run into, nothing like that. I am just going to deck myself out with pistols. I'm going to hang on to the 2 blades that I've got. I can't really, quote-unquote, restore any of these things, as in I can't kind of refund them into Elixir Skin, just because, I don't know, I feel like I want to at least hang on to some melee weapons in case I absolutely need them. I don't know why I would need them, but I'm just that kind of player. So now I'm just going to run in here and run around and dodge a lot, and try to kill this first boss without dying, just so I don't have to grind this first floor. One more thing. I mentioned this in my previous videos, just so that you don't have to watch those, because they were pretty horrible. That little triangle there, like right next to my left arm, on the floor, that designates what floor we're on. So, since this game doesn't really have floor indicators, that's your floor indicator. They do not tell you that. I had to figure that out. I'm sure it's pretty obvious. I mean, you know, once you got to like floor 5, you know, maybe you take notice of that, but it's not mentioned explicitly, so there. This is going to be sort of a commentary on the game as a whole, and also a like playthrough, or I mean a walkthrough type of thing. Mostly I'll be making commentary on like bullet weapons because those are my favorite, but I will point out the other weapon types as we run into them and try to go over their advantages and disadvantages. For now, let's head up, and we're going to be facing the very first boss, Pride, or Mars. This is based on Dante's Divine Comedy. I don't know if you know anything about that. I haven't been able to read it myself, but it's basically, you know, facing the 7 deadly sins and traversing heaven, hell, and purgatory. And so the main character here is symbolic of Dante. It's loosely based, but it is still based. Like, the connection is still there, and it's an important connection. So yeah, let's head on in and get our first bit of context. Ooh, I skipped through that too quickly. I tried to get to the second bit. You might want to pause to read that. But the bottom line here is that this guy's, he's not human. Really doesn't seem human, does he? Really robotic. He's got 2 different types of swords, I just noticed. One of them is like a dashing type. The other is multi-hit. Yeah, that thing can do critical hits. Yeah, we don't want that. Also gotta try to balance my heat usage here. Or not, because there's a cooldown right there. Ow. And, you know, hey, he broke this open for me, so I'll just kind of grab that, and yeah, you're screwed. The second boss is not going to be this easy. Alright, cool. Yeah, largely when you play this game, if you play it by yourself, your questions are your character's questions. What am I? Why am I here? What's the point of doing any of this? And like the main character here, the game largely tries to just motivate you by sending you up to the next level. One after the other, after the other, after the other. It tries to, you know, entice you with the story a little bit. I admit the gameplay is a little bit lackluster. I like it. I find repetitious games to be, you know, entertaining. I know a lot of people don't. I like the numbers game that goes on here. But I'm gonna cut the first episode here and move into the second floor in the next episode. There might be a bit more grinding in here. There'll be a bit more, you know, variation of weapon types and all that sort of thing. So we'll see how this goes. But for now, oh, hang on, let me actually save the game while I'm on camera so I remember to do it. Yeah, I did do some testing, as you can see here, but Yeah, that's old news. Alright, so we'll be heading into floor 2 in the next part. I hope you're enjoying it so far. I'm going to try to make this a bit more, at least a little bit more entertaining than last time. Jeez, that was really unnatural. But yeah, I'll see you in the next part.